believe with all my heart that the church is called, that Christians are called, that we are called to have a nevertheless spirit. I mean, you see it all through Scripture. You see it when the children of Israel faced the Red Sea. You see it when the children of Israel faced the Jordan River in the first few chapters of Joshua. You see it when the children of Israel faced the walls of Jericho. You see it over and over and over in the history of God's people that He calls us to be nevertheless people. He calls us to be overcomers. As a matter of fact, in Romans chapter 8, verse 37, it says, we have been made more than conquerors through Christ who saved us. We have been made overcomers as a church, as families, as Christians, as believers. We have been made victorious. We have been made overcomers. But let me tell you what happens to most of us. For most of us in the church, for most of us in our homes, for most of us in our families, for most of us in our individual lives, most of us, instead of being overcomers, become underachievers. Instead of living over the circumstances of life, most of us live under the circumstances. Many times when someone asks us how we are, our answer is fine, like Tim said last night. But sometimes our answer is, well, I'm doing pretty good under the circumstances. The truth of the matter is that God has enabled us and God has called us to not live under the circumstances, but to live on top of the circumstances. We have been given the ability through Jesus Christ to be overcomers, through the nevertheless spirit that says, I know what the odds say, I know what the odds makers say, I know where people are placing their bets, I understand where people think the victory is going to come, I understand how big the giant is, I understand how dire the situation looks, but I also understand that my God is able to make me victorious and an overcomer through Jesus Christ. Therefore, I will not have an under the circumstances attitude, but I will instead choose to have a nevertheless spirit that says, no matter what, I have victory in Christ Jesus. But here's the good news. There is no earthly power. There is no devilish power. There is no demonic power. There is no hellish power that is a match for the power of Jesus Christ. There is no match for the power of God's kingdom. There is absolutely nothing the enemy can throw at you that with God's help you cannot be victorious over and that you cannot overcome. We have been given the keys to the kingdom, and we have the ability to be more than conquerors even through those strongholds and over those strongholds of power. Amen.